excited about this video for a couple of different reasons. First off, we're gonna break down, I asked for a Q&A on my Instagram, so I literally have like 2 pages worth of questions that everyone asked that I'm gonna answer, and a lot of them have to do with breaking down a lot of the terms that we talk about on this channel. I just got so excited, I need to breathe. So I'm really excited about that. The other reason I'm excited is because this is the first day I've been able to set the camera in front of the window and there's no wind and I can have the window open and the light, ah! I love when the light is perfect. Whew. Okay, I'm having an Aspire energy drink in this cup because we all know I don't know if you guys know that about me actually. I don't like when cups are wet. I always wrap them in paper towels. So cheers. Cheers fam, let's jump in. Okay. This is gonna be really interesting. Just gonna go through all the terms. I am going to talk about, there were quite a few questions that people asked about me. I'm not going to talk about myself until the very end because I feel like it's a little bit more significant for this channel for people to be able to listen and kind of understand the terminology that we use when we use certain things, because I've noticed that a lot of people that come to this channel just like don't know anything about the tarot and don't know anything about the information that we're channeling through. And because I do use the tarot and this is a tarot reading and channeling account, I just use the terms of the cards often, and some people don't know what that means. So some of that is in here, but there's also a lot of other terms that are really interesting. Oh, I need to go grab, stay right here, do not move, do not move. I have some cards from my Starseed deck, my Oracle deck, where she uses some of the terminology for some of the seeds. And so we're going to, I just love the way that she uses them. So for some of them, I'm going to read some of the cards or just little sections about them. Yeah. The other thing about this is that any information that does come through that is new or information from the angels, I am welcome to receiving. So there might be some information about some of these terms that I didn't know before, because we're gonna just let the angels come through. I also have not opened my channels, so I'm gonna do that really quick. If you want to, go ahead and take a big breath in with me, in and out. And I'm gonna say a little prayer to welcome the angels in. I like to call in our teams of light, the angels above, with, and through us, the guardians that watch over us that are of the light. I like to ask that you come in at this time. I give you full permission to share messages through my channel to assist us in diving into these terms, this information. And to my team of light specifically, and my star team, and I'm inviting in all star collectives as well. For the highest good of all and harm to none, I give you full access to share messages through my channel. And my star team, I give you full access to my vessel to assist me in sharing these messages. And so it is. And so it is light. And so it be. Okay, let's dive in. I'm going to start by defining some terms. Also, angels. This might be a long message. So I'm excited for it. It's really a hangout message where we're really going in. Okay. I'm like, where do I want to start? I think before I jump into terms, I'm actually gonna just start the message talking about starseeds, because I love starseeds. I'm a starseed, and I honestly just feel like really lucky right now to be making this video. When I first started researching starseeds, I think it was like 4 years ago. And I remember that's when I first started figuring out that I was a starseed, and so I did so much research on them, and I just dove in so hardcore because I wanted to understand, and a lot of the questions that I did get are a lot about starseeds, knowing how you're a starseed, XYZ, and so I think I'm just going to start with starseeds in general. We talked a little bit about this at the end of a different channeled message, and I didn't dive too deep in, but I think I'm just going to reiterate what I said in the other message and start from scratch. Starseeds! What is a starseed? The concept of a starseed is basically a star in a seed in a human body, right? Starseed. So it's like a seedling of a star essence in a human body. Starseeds are the concept, let's start here. How you would feel like you might be a starseed or know that you would feel called to a starseed is intuitively first you want to know about it. You're like, what is that? Is that something interesting? And secondly, you would have this really strong sense of like missing home. Okay, there's a really common theme for starseeds where you don't feel like you fit in here, or you feel like you're from somewhere else, or you miss home and you never really feel like this is home. And it's not something that you can really describe, but like even throughout your life growing up, you would have really felt like you were like, yes, this is home, but you would have known that this wasn't home. Like there's just something inside of you that knows that there's something else out there, right? So that's like where you kind of like find that desire to know about starseeds. For me personally, that's what it was. I was like, my whole life I never fit in. I literally felt like I was like just like so odd, like the odd one out, and I was just like, what is this place? Like, and my whole life, another funny thing is that I have always referred to human beings as humans. I've never referred to them as like my people ever in my life. Like I've never felt like I was a part of this place. I've always, and when I talk about people, I never really say people unless I have to for like purposes of like writing, right, in terms of like what's like actually respected or received. I always say humans. These humans. That's just something I do because I'm like, this is a species. You know, like, and it's very interesting. I've done it since I was very, very young. Like I've always referred to humans. Now, as humans. Okay, I'm gonna break down the different types of starseeds. And we'll just see if the angels have anything to add to any of the types of starseeds, because I feel like that's a great starting point. So there's a few different types of starseeds. I'm going to be using this journal because I wrote everything down just to make sure I don't miss anything. There's Pleiadians. We'll go one by one. So the first one is Pleiadians. I'm also going to... I have Pleiadian star history and lineage, so I have done research on Pleiadians. This is a book that you can read if you are interested in Pleiadians. It's called Path of Empowerment, Pleiadian Wisdom for a World in Chaos. Okay? Great book. All channeled Pleiades information. The thing about starseeds is that I feel like a majority of us, okay, I'm like, how do I even like encapsulate this? Many starseeds, I believe, have several different star lineages, and I think that especially the ones that come into spokespeople for star people and star beings have several different starseed histories, or have lived in different planets or solar systems or galaxies or whatever, right? So I feel like you may have more than one. You don't have to be just one, okay? And I feel like some people have specific memories from their most recent one that really, really affect their life in this life. Oh, I can feel that the angels just showed up. Can you guys? They just said hello. They're like, hi. Hello. Should I come closer to the window now that the light is changing? Yeah, okay, so Pleiades. Pleiades is one of the oldest star systems. And Pleiades is actually the most common starseed on the planet. I would think. It might be not quite. There might be others that are like pretty close, but Pleiades was the first one that kind of like integrated. Now, a lot of the information that I'm going to be pulling from is a lot of information that I learned from research of Dolores Cannon, okay? Dolores Cannon is a quantum hypnotic teacher, and she literally, what's it called? Coined a type of hypnotic trance where it's called quantum healing hypnotic technique, QHHT. And you basically, or what she would do is put people into trance, and then she would put them through past life regression, which takes a few hours, and then at the very end she would put them into an even deeper trance where basically their source could speak through them, or their highest self, right, their higher consciousness. And that is where she learned tons of information, which is a lot of the information that I know, and that is what I will be sharing from, is information that I've learned from literally like 10 plus books that I've read of Dolores Cannon's, of the research that she has done, and literal like what is it called, like hours and hours and hours that she's put people into hypnotic trance. Okay, so like research hours. She even has like, anyways, all these different kinds of books. So that's where I'm drawing a lot of my knowledge from, just so you guys know. That's where I've learned a lot of my things. This is funny, I'm noticing that like as I'm speaking I'm working through a block in my throat. Can you guys tell? Because usually when I'm channeling information that's not about me. And for a really long time I made my whole social media career about myself, and it never really like, it never made me feel good or beneficial, or like it was a never-ending cycle of like trying to like satisfy something that was never gonna feel satisfied. And so I haven't made any content about something beyond, or about myself, anything that isn't about like the channeled messages, in a very long time. So this is like the first time I'm making a video, so just bear with me while I'm like moving through this. 12:12 on the timer. Because there might be a little bit of a block that I'm kind of pushing through in order to talk about something besides channeling. Okay, so Pleiadians. I feel like I'm not going to go too deep into it because I just feel like there's so many collectives of different stars here that you're going to like listen to everything, and I don't want to make it like too crazy about deep diving into each star lineage, because I want you to be able to feel intuitively which one you feel the most called to. The thing about stuff like this is that you have soul memory from beyond here. And so I'm going to say one of these star seeds, and if you're a star seed, you're going to feel a weird calling towards it. And that's how you're going to know. And people are always like, how do you know if you're a star seed? Well, why are you researching it in the first place? What part of you is craving that? What part of you is looking to understand that information, right? So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to move through the different types of star seeds, and if you feel really called to one, I highly, highly, highly recommend deep diving into that one and looking up tons of information about that star, and or the planet in the galaxy, or whatever it is, right? Okay. The next one is Sirian star seeds. Sirian is a planet that is really connected to luck. Personally, I feel like Sirian star seeds they're kind of people that come in with like really positive energy and have a lot of luck. And they might not even feel like they have luck, but I just feel like it's a really, really beautiful, potent, powerful energy. They have really, really strong essences, okay? So there's Sirian. I actually think that I might have Sirian on here. Maybe not. No. Okay. Next we have Arcturian. I do have Arcturian on here. I also have Pleiades, so I'll read a couple of these for you guys. Let's start with Pleiades since we already did that. Big picture thinking. The Pleiadians are our cosmic cousins. They're here to remind us that it's never too late to learn new things and change the future. You're being called to be a visionary for the planet. Take a breath, shake off what you've been taught about the world, and hold a new vision for humanity. The Pleiadians support us in this important stage in Earth's development. That's also why they're here so prominently is because we're going through such a mass transformation on Earth, from the old Earth to the new Earth, and the Pleiadians are the ones that are assisting at the base level. And I feel like a lot of the first wave of beings that came into planet Earth from outside of planet Earth, many of them were Pleiadians, first and second wave, to be honest. They want us to know that the decisions we make today will affect the well-being of our planet and all its species. They're calling you to be a leader to the future, to hold a clear vision of what's possible, to trust that vision and follow it through with daily action, to dream a new world into being, literally. Okay, and then let's move into Arcturians. D. Okay, the Arcturians are a galactic group of beings who have mastered deep cellular and emotional healing. They want you to know they want you to spirits they want you to know that it's possible to feel vibrant in your body and well in your skin, to have your cells return to effervescence and vitality, to find calmness and contentedness, to have a soothed nervous system and tranquil hearts. The Arcturians are tended to be known as healers, deep healers. Okay, so if you have Arcturian lineage, you probably have a really natural sense to healing. You're probably also really drawn towards apothecary energy, or even just like healing in more natural ways, and yeah, just like really understanding the body's like deeper cellular structure. You may even have the ability, this is coming through from the angels, if you're Arcturian, you may have the ability of like clairvoyance, and you may be able to see the bodily system. What they're showing me, they've shown me it a few, or I've seen it a few times when I worked on my system. You could also be a healer if you have this star history, right? But like to have the body, the energetic body lift off of the physical body, and you can see ailments or areas where the body needs help or to be worked on. Yeah. Okay, the next one that we have is Andromedan. Pretty sure I have Andromedan here. I do. Yeah. Jump in. And this is a star book called the Starseed Oracle, if you guys want to get it. I learned a lot about a lot of the starseeds just from using oracle cards over the years, and you just kind of like learn as you go, and you get more information when you're ready for it. It's kind of one of those things where like it's sacred hidden knowledge, and it's hidden knowledge that's also inside of you, and so by listening to your intuition is how you're going to find more information on it, and just like diving into the different areas where you feel called to go. That's why I also recommend like doing your own research on the starseeds that might call to you, because you might find 20 websites about it and only one of them calls to you, and it's because you're feeling that resonance of your history in the information in there. It's all frequency. Okay. Andromedan. Andromeda is a spiral galaxy, the closest galaxy to the Milky Way. It's believed that Andromedan starseeds are a group of beings who love their freedom, very adaptable, and have a strong willingness and ability to change and go with the flow, to find calm in the chaos, to swim with the tides. The Andromedans want you to fall in love with surfing the waves of life, to seek more adventures, to embrace your own adaptability, and find a way to be calm in the chaos. You didn't come to Earth to be passive. You came to Earth to truly live. I love that. It's kind of cool because like it kind of breaks down the different styles of people, and like certain like types of people that like inspire you to do certain different things, and you don't even realize that like that inspiration comes from a part of them that's like been born and lived many lifetimes before this one, which is just so cool to me. Okay, Orion. I have Orion here too, I think. Maybe not. I thought I had Orion. Orion is a star, wow, I might have to channel to see any information about Orion starseeds. Wow, so interesting. Nothing is coming through. Okay, I'm not really going to dive into it. We're going to go with what comes through. But Orion is a star, it's like a there's several different stars in Orion's belt, right? And so there's starseeds from different areas in Orion. One of my star lineages is from one of the star planets in the belt of Orion. So Orion starseeds are kind of a bit more diverse, and they kind of like can have different qualities. Oh, and mine's literally next. So the next one is Mintaka, which is literally a planet in Orion's belt. So it's an Orion starseed, or a type of Orion starseed. And that's like my history of lineage. Mintaka is a planet that, it's a place that exists full of deep unconditional love. There's like, it's a very, very light planet. It doesn't have the same density of Earth. And so the memory of that place is it's just so beautiful and loving, and so much goodness and light, and it's a water world. It's literally shallow, like beautiful crystal clear blue waters around the entire planet. There isn't really any land and it's just all water, and it makes a lot of sense. I'll give you guys a little bit about my history for this, because it'll make more sense to understand like how I felt called to understanding Mintaka. And the first time I heard Mintaka, I just knew. But I also have the ability of claircognizance, so I just like knew. But my entire life, I have always been really drawn to shallow crystal waters. So as I was growing up, I traveled to the Caribbean a lot, and it was my favorite place in the entire world because I loved the shallow crystal waters. It felt like home to me, which is super interesting. And even still to this day, if I go to a beach, I want to be somewhere that has shallow crystal waters. Like, that's where I feel the most at home. And my whole life, I felt like a fish, literally. And Mintaka starseeds are like kind of like fishy people. They like have fishy scales, or like fishy parts of their body. And so I, like, my whole life was a fish. Even from the minute I was born as a little girl, my parents used to call me their fish because I would just jump in the water and swim. I was like, I'm meant to be in waters. Like, that's my whole history. I was always like, I'm supposed to be in the water. And I always just felt super called. The other thing about Mintaka starseeds is that they often feel like they have to be near water. They have to live near water. And I ended up moving somewhere literally away from my entire family, away from where I was born and raised, because I needed to live by the ocean. And I knew it from a really young age. I was like, I need the ocean. I was like, I'm supposed to live by the ocean. I decorated my room as a kid. I painted the whole room blue, and I put seashells everywhere, and I hung posters on my walls of the ocean and of little beach houses by the ocean, and everything was ocean themed because I needed to live by the ocean. I was like, that was my way of creating the ocean where I was. And I used to have like, it's just so funny to like look at all of that stuff now, and then now have the understanding of like why I was so drawn to all of those things. And when I was a little girl, I had a pool growing up, and I used to like jump down into the pool and sink to the bottom and just open my eyes and just hold my breath as long as I could and just lay there. Like, that's where I felt the most at home, was just underwater, which is just so funny. And the other thing that's also really hilarious is that we as starseeds tend to have, I have to restart the camera, hold on. Okay. So we as starseeds tend to have historical memory of the places that we lived once before, okay? And what's interesting is that I literally am writing a fantasy book of an underwater world of mermaids that mixes with our world. Like, it's been the fantasy book that I never ever talk about it, but like, I have this weird memory of living underwaters. And I started writing this book when I was 14 years old, and I've just been writing it like my whole life, because one day it'll be a real book. But the fact that like I didn't know anything about starseeds, and the only fantasy book I've ever wanted to write, like truly, is one of an underwater world. It's the only thing I've ever felt connected to, and my whole life I always like, I was so called to being a mermaid. Like, I had so many mermaid things everywhere. Like, everything was mermaid for me. I was like, I'm literally like the epitome of a starseed, like a Mintaka starseed that forgot that they were Mintaka or came from that place. And like, the other thing about Mintaka starseeds is that they are just so full of unconditional love, and so they tend to be really, really sensitive. They're very they can be very empathetic, but even more than that, oh, the wind is picking up. Hopefully you guys can't hear it. Where was I? They're from a planet where, like, it's just not that dense, and so they come here, and because they're used to such love and goodness and kindness, they tend to see the best in people. And so Mintaka and Starseeds specifically are the most susceptible to ending up in relationships where they may get taken advantage of, or even just ending up in situations where they really have to learn about the density of how this planet actually works, because they see the very best in people, and when people don't act in that way, it doesn't make sense to them, because they remember such goodness and kindness and people acting in their highest light, and they still forgive and continue to love over and over and over and over again, no matter what happens, because they have that, like, imprinted memory of unconditional love. I also feel like that's why so many of them are here on the planet at this time, is because we need unconditional love now more than ever. And it's just so significant on this planet that, like, love needs to be birthed into this world, because it just hasn't been for so long, and there's so much, like, darkness and war and, like, lack of love and just, like, the opposite of it. And so we need to have that memory of coming back to it. I feel like that's also why many starseeds are here, is to just help this earth rebalance its vibrational system into that of love, or the frequency also of authentic love too, because that's what's going to bring the world back to life. That's what we're missing, right? So I feel like that's why also so many are here, because the planet has just gone in funny directions. I could talk a lot about Dolores Cannon's history, but let's finish going through these first. The last two that I have here is Lyrans. The thing about Lyrans, someone else specifically asked about Lyrans. What was that question? Did I not write it down? Anyways, someone specifically asked about Lyrans. They were like, do you know anything about Lyran starseeds? The thing about Lyran starseeds is that they come from a planet system, or planet, that is the closest in similarity to Earth. So it's very dense, the same way that it is here, and so they feel very in their bodies here. Oh, the wind is picking up and it's gonna rain. No! I'm gonna close the window, hold on. I'm gonna have to move over here. I was so excited. Now it's gonna, oh, I guess the light's fine. It's whatever. Okay. So anyways, someone specifically asked about Lyran starseeds. Oh, there's a hair. And Lyran starseeds are very, very powerful and very, very loud. Not even just loud. I don't think loud is the right word. But they're the type of starseeds that they're really comfortable being in positions of power. And they're really comfortable, like, being fully in their bodies. And they feel really comfortable in the density here. So they have a little bit more of like a, I would say, like a powerful essence. There's something else that I want to read for them. Hold on. I found this website, and I think I'll just, like, add the link down below for you guys to read about all of the starseeds, because again, like, I'm not going to go through every single one so deeply. Lyrans. Okay. The Lyran starseed originates from the Vega, the brightest planet in the Lyra constellation. They are the keepers of ancient knowledge and are very wise and old souls. There is often a strong connection with cats, and the healing energy of the feline is very potent for them. They can feel very at home on Earth as the chaotic nature of the planet resonates with them. Lyrans are great champions of freedom and will often choose professions or hobbies where they can promote freedom in all forms. Whew. Oh, I'm sorry. The next one that we talk about is the one where they get in positions of power. But anyways, Lyrans are like really, really cool. I have a friend who I do believe has Lyran history, and I think that that's like super cool. You can see it in their energy, and I guess I'm a little sensitive to energy, so for me it's like kind of obvious, but it's literally in the way that they like, it's the way that they hold themselves too. Like different starseeds hold themselves in different ways, and she has like such a feline energy to her. You can just like feel it. With a friend that I have that has that history, right? It's very, very kitty cat, but like powerful kitty cat. And like also she has like all this information and like historical knowledge that like doesn't really make sense, like where she got so wise. So I do feel like it's just like when you meet certain people, you can kind of feel the different energies inside of them, and you can feel where they've been from before. And sometimes you'll meet people who have similar histories to yours, and you can feel the sense of home inside of them that you don't feel even from this planet. Okay? The last one that we have is reptilians. I don't know too much about reptilians. Again, I'm just going to add the link down below, but I don't feel super called to reptilian energy, and so I'm not really going to channel for reptilians. But it's a starseed that they end up in really big positions of power, kind of like governmental types of positions. They feel very drawn towards that place, and I just don't feel connected to that at all. I'm a very like watery like seed, and I like the creative arts, and I'm really connected to other things. It might get kind of loud because it's pouring rain, but yeah, so that's all the types of starseeds technically, but then there's a lot of other historical knowledge as well. So let's dive into the other terms that I want to kind of dive into now. We kind of already went through starseeds, which is really cool. The next term that someone asked about is twin flames. And people use this term all the time. Twin flames. Twin flames. I used to believe in twin flames for a little bit, but I actually have gone back on my own personal opinion on twin flames. People always love to comment about twin flames, and when you do a love reading, everyone always like says like, yes, this is my twin flame, this is my twin flame, this is my twin flame. My honest truth of twin flames is that if it's your twin flame, you're not going to be sitting in the comments saying it's your twin flame, because there's often a huge misprojection of twin flames, and you kind of like throw that term a little bit, people toss it around in a light way where it's just like so many people are your twin flame. But a twin flame is like a super rare thing, and some people do have a twin flame journey. I personally don't believe that I do, and so I don't really love that term, right? And then when it comes to the actual term of twin flame, the concept of what a twin flame is a flame that is so extremely similar to your flame that when it flickers, it matches you, right? So it's like it's not an easy journey too. Like a lot of people talk about the twin flame journey, like this is my twin flame and this is this, but like a twin flame is going to mirror back to you everything about yourself, including the darkest qualities of you. So a twin flame can be kind of hard, and often you think that you've met a twin flame when you're having a really intense relationship with someone, but sometimes they're not your twin flame, they're just a mirror, okay? And I feel like we have the opportunity, the thing that's misdiagnosed when it comes to twin flames is that everyone's a reflection. So that's why I have a hard time claiming twin flame on things, and I don't do twin flame readings, is because every single person is a reflection of you, because every single person is made of an essence where if you imagine, I really want to recommend like watching a video. I'm pretty sure it's by Kyrgyzstan, and it's called The Egg. So you can find it on YouTube. It's called The Egg, and it's the most beautiful concept of like God made you and made you again and made you again and took you after each life and replanted you into a new soul, or a new body, I mean, your soul into a new body with no memories. And so the concept is that every single person on earth is you. So of course every single thing is going to be reflected, and so you're literally meeting yourself in every moment. I'm literally getting confirmative burps right now. But you're meeting yourself in every moment that you meet people. So in that concept, every single person is your twin flame. You know, like every single person is going to mirror back to you qualities based on when you meet them, based on synchronicity of when you're supposed to meet specific souls to learn the things that you're meant to learn. So that's like, that kind of gives you an idea of what twin flame is. But like whenever I'm reading, I'm not talking about your twin flame. I never am talking about your twin flame, because anytime that someone's mirroring back to you, especially in love and relationships, I believe that it's actually just an opportunity for you to become a higher version of yourself, because their flame isn't the same as your flame. And flames, when you put them next to each other, they always have weird reflective moments. And I just think every single person is an opportunity and a reflection for you to experience yourself and to rise in vibrational essence of yourself, okay? The next one that I have here is someone asked about blue avians. Blue avians, so now we're kind of getting into something that's a little bit deeper than just starseeds. These are consciousness in different formats that assist the planet's vibration and help you. The thing about blue avians is that I actually had this correlation point while I was like writing everything down. I talk about the blue flame people often, and the blue flame people are a blue essence that is of a very high vibrational state and a very kind, light energy that visits you at a time of deep activation. Now, as I was doing research about the blue avians, they are often also experienced in this way. So I believe it is possible that the blue flame people that I've talked about before, the blue flame beings that visit you, are also probably closely connected to the blue avians. The blue avians are these like bird-like blue creatures. If you look them up, there's some really cool AI recreations of them, but they're like this essence of a blue light, and this very, very blue, compassionate, beautiful, wonderful light that visits you, and visits you in a time of awakening, okay? So that's what blue avians are technically. The next term that we have here is people just want to know about sun, moon, and rising. I am also going to notify you guys, like a lot of people ask about astrology stuff. I am not an astrologer, okay? I don't know anything about astrology. People were asking about, do you use Vedic astrology? Do you do this? Guys, I'm not an astrologer. I'm a channeler and I'm a reader. I do follow a lot of astrologers, but I recommend finding an astrologer that matches your frequency, because there are so many different astrologers and it's hard to find ones that you feel super called to. So you need to like treat an astrologer like you're like a dating game. Every single astrologer is like, you need to find one that matches you and that you really resonate with. And that's how you're going to find the best information that comes through to you in a way that you can receive it when it comes to astrology. But I can tell you a little bit about sun, moon, and rising in my own perspective. So for the sun, moon, and rising, when people give you that information, I experience the sun as the way that your vibrancy shines through. So if you take the qualities of whatever your sun sign is, that's going to be like the heart of your being almost. It's going to be like the parts of you that feel like they come alive in the ways that you experience reality, right? In the blankest sense, like more as like a baseline of your essence. Your rising is going to be the way that other people experience you. So it's the qualities of that sign of the ways other people experience you. And so I'll go through the three and then I'll give you mine as an example. Now, your moon is the way that you experience yourself. So you're going to secretly see yourself in a lot of the ways that your moon sign is perceived. So for example, I'm a Virgo. My sun is a Virgo. So my baseline of reality is the qualities of a Virgo. I'm very particular. I'm very specific about things. I like when things look a specific way, like how I always fix my hair, or I'm like, my necklaces have to be perfect, or if I see the thing, like, I'm like, why isn't it straight? You know, like it's very direct thing. Virgos are known to be very practical. We're also very practical about matters, okay? So when we're looking at certain things, we're like, this is going to make the most sense this way, and so we'll try to like move it that way, you know, like we're pretty strategic. And I think Virgos are very intellectual people, to be completely honest. But also every Virgo in the world is going to say Virgos are the best sign, you know, and I feel like a lot of the signs are going to say like their sign is the best sign. But that's because you do the most research on that sign, and that's what you resonate with the most. So all the signs are really epic, really. Now, my rising is Cancer. Cancers are known to be very emotional. They're also known to come off a little bit cold, but then they have ooey wooey squishy insides. I'm very, very perceived that way by people. And Cancers also, like, they have this really softness to them, but it's an emotional softness that also has kind of like a crisp to it. And so yeah, so when other people experience me and meet me, I come off, or I can come off a little bit cold at first. And then it really takes warming up to me, or getting me to warm up to you, to see the ooey gooey insides, right? And so that's like my rising. That's how people tend to experience me. And they also see me as way more emotional than like I even see myself, to be honest. Like, and so that's what's interesting about your rising sign, is that other people might experience you in a way that you totally don't get. You're like, people think I'm that like sensitive and emotional. Like, Cancers are super sensitive. And like, I think I'm sensitive, but like, I don't think I'm as sensitive as other people think I am. Like, other people think I'm like super sensitive, and I am, but at the same time, I perceive it in a completely different way, right? Okay. And then your moon is the way that you experience yourself, and my moon is Gemini. Geminis are really fun people, and they also can have really, Geminis are known as like the two-faced sign. I don't really think they're super two-faced, but they have very strong personas that are very, I don't want to say counterintuitive, but like contradictory to the parts of them that people experience. So for me, when I look at myself, I see myself as a literal walking contradiction, because like secretly when I look at myself, I'm like, everything about me contradicts the concepts of the other parts of me. And so I'm like a walking contradiction, basically. But no one else really perceives that of me, because they don't know me in the depth that I know myself. And so that's why your moon is the hidden aspect of how you experience yourself. And I feel like that's like the base of like what's really cool about knowing people's sun, moons, and risings, is that it gives you the opportunity to have a little bit more understanding of how they experience themselves if you know the basics of like certain signs. And it also gives you the opportunity to see how the world sees them that could not align with the way that they see themselves, right? And it's just really interesting if you take different people's or individual people's personas into account, right? Okay, I'm like, we're already like 40 minutes into this video. This is gonna be a long video. The next one that I have is my 777 necklace. People want to know what 777 means and where I got it. I got this on Etsy. It's the cutest little necklace ever. It was $300, and it's all gold, 14 karat, and I'm obsessed with it. I love it so much. I've never been so excited, because usually to get like gold jewelry, it can be more expensive. But yeah, something people don't know about me is that I'm allergic to copper, and so I can only wear gold because they put copper in silver and in sterling silver to strengthen it, basically. And so I can't usually buy other things because I will get rashes everywhere. Yeah, kind of funny. So I only buy gold. That's why I'm always wearing gold. And yeah, 777, a lot of people perceive it as the lucky number, and I think that that's really interesting, because like it is a super lucky number, because it actually has everything to do with spiritual enlightenment or spiritual rising. So 777 is basically connected to the energy of what I would say is the Hierophant in the Tarot. It's about wisdom seeking. It's about understanding more in the universe, and it has to do with understanding more of yourself and kind of like diving more deeply into your inner knowledge. And so of course it's going to be a lucky number, because if you're diving into yourself in that way, you're going to find more alignment in your reality, which is going to in turn translate into more luck and abundance in your life. And so that's why I just love this number so much. My other favorite number is 3, but it's always been 3s and 7s for me, and 777 is the one that like I just align with the most. So I literally love it. And the fact that like who I am or I'm experienced as is someone who's always talking about like higher knowledge, inner knowledge, and coming back to yourself, it really represents who I am, especially in this time, in such a beautiful way, right? I'm gonna close this all the way. It's like pouring rain outside. Should I close that window too? It's pretty loud. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Now all the windows are closed. Okay, the next one is organic portals and NPCs. I talk about NPCs sometimes. I actually think this is a really funny one. I'm gonna close my laptop because I don't know if I've ever really had this conversation with you guys. I fully believe there are NPCs in this world. NPCs is a non-player character. And organic portals is basically the same concept of an NPC, but organic portals is the concept of someone that is an NPC that doesn't technically have a soul inside of them, and so different souls can basically hijack them, or souls from the other side or spirits from the other side could hijack their vessel to like send messages or do certain things, or even entities that aren't positive could technically hijack them. I don't really know if I believe in all of that, but that's the concept of organic portals. But I do believe in NPCs. I really strongly do. And I believe that I think many vessels on Earth are NPCs until a soul that's living through them or watching the experience chooses to activate the vessel. I think you have to choose your life. Like, I really strongly feel, like I talked about in my other video, like I don't feel like I was really alive until recently. Like I finally feel like my soul dropped into my body and chose to live. And I feel like a lot of my life I was living in the concept of NPC reality, where I was a sheep. I was pretending to be a sheep when I'm not a sheep. I'm like, I'm a whole ass soul. And I did a channeled message a while back about being a sheep, but you're really a dragon, and sheep, like pretending to be a sheep. And literally I'm like, I'm a dragon. Like, why am I not living like a dragon? I'm acting like a sheep. Like, I'm living like a sheep. So I dropped my soul into my body and now I'm a dragon. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a dragon. I'm gonna be the dragon that I am. And kind of like coming into your body. So I think every single soul, I think there are souls in NPCs or that have the opportunity to be in NPCs. But sometimes I feel like you're just supposed to be here and witness and learn. And then when you decide you want to activate yourself and come into this world really and be a real like living experience, then you choose to. And that vessel is chosen and stops being an NPC. But I do think NPCs exist. Sometimes you look at people and you don't feel like anything is inside of there, and I don't know if there is anything inside of there. Sometimes I'm like, they're just out of their body, you know, like the soul's not really there, and that's NPC reality. Okay, the next thing is an enigma. I did that message a little while back about enigmas, and someone was like, what is an enigma to you? An enigma is basically like an unsolved puzzle. In definition. Get cut off. I had a phone a long time ago. I can give you the actual definition of an enigma. A person or thing that is mysterious, puzzling, or difficult to understand. An enigma. Okay, the next one is Kundalini awakening. A Kundalini awakening is really interesting, and I don't have full information, but the concept of a Kundalini awakening is basically, it's kind of like a hit where all your chakras get whipped open at the exact same time, and it feels like a massive surge of energy moving through your body. And people tend to connect Kundalini awakenings also with kind of like a sensual type of awakening, is where it's kind of connected because it stems from sensuality. From what I know and have heard, I do feel like I've experienced different moments, but some people like talk about Kundalini awakenings like this crazy like revolutionary energy where like it hit them and their whole body was convulsing, unstoppable for like X amount of time. And so I kind of feel like people experience different things for Kundalini awakenings, because like I experience my body shaking, but it happens on a regular. Like, I'm like, all my different chakras shake at certain points, especially when I'm moving energy through or out of them. But have I ever had a moment where every single one of my chakras felt like it was uncontrollably like exorcism shaking? I don't know. Maybe. But I feel like you're supposed to know if it's really truly happened. And so I can't personally speak from my experience on Kundalini awakenings, but that's what the concept is that, and the Kundalini awakening is tends to be connected to the concept of a snake, and it's like a snake shooting up your chakras, like, and it's like, oh, open, awake, and it's like a massive awakening. And people say that when you have a Kundalini awakening, you never go back. Once it happens, it's like, there it is. Yeah, the next one we have is quantum leaps. Whew. We've done a few messages about quantum leaps. Quantum leaps, in my opinion, okay, so I'm gonna break this down in a way that makes a little bit more sense in my eyes. It's kind of like timeline jumping, but it's like jumping several timelines all at once. Now, I believe that we live in an infinite multiverse, basically. There are so many timelines existing all at the exact same time, where little different things are different in all these timelines. And the more you start to kind of awaken within yourself, the more you realize how true this is. And so you can be jumping timelines and not realize that you have jumped timelines, because our universe wasn't made for us to know that we're jumping timelines, really. It's subtle. It's like you barely really notice anything, except for one day something is different than it used to be and you never remember it being that way. You timeline jumped. That's a very, very evident thing. Or like, what's it called? I can't remember what it's called. It's when like things, where we like mass collectively timeline jump, and certain things in the world are different. I'm gonna give you the one that I remember, but I don't know if you guys are drinkers. But like when I was a young kid, I used to drink this drink called Hypnotic all the time. It's HYPNOTIC, and I remember it that way my whole life, like with the Y in it. And then one day I went to the liquor store and Hypnotic doesn't have a Y, like collectively, and like I went through all the history. I was like, this is so weird, and there's apparently never been a Y in Hypnotic, but my whole memory of childhood, Hypnotic had a Y in it. So it's stuff like that. There's a specific term for it, so if you guys can remember that term, comment it. But it's basically the concept of like something changed. Like there's another one with like Bernstein bears, and it's spelled differently or something like that. Or like, yeah, it's like the whole world remembers something being a certain way, but it's just not, and there's no history of it actually being that way. Timeline jumping. That's the concept of it. Like we literally move through timelines. And yeah. So that's that. And then quantum leaping, I believe, is when you shift so many different timelines all at once, or you do it really rapidly, and you jump timeline to a point where your whole reality kind of like feels like it has shifted because you quantum leaped, because you found a pinpoint in time where you were able to shift timelines so quickly in your transitional or transformational energy that you can now exist in a different reality because you've raised your vibration, technically. Oh, okay. Indigo kids. Wow, we've got Indigo kids, and then we've got the Golden Children and the seven star sisters. Okay, so seven star sisters is part of the star sisters that the Pleiades come from. So that's a little bit connected to that. So that's just like a correlation point for those of you that want to learn about the Pleiades. But we also have, I have the Golden Children here, and then I thought I had the other one here too. Indigo Kids isn't in this deck. But the Golden Children is. I'll do Indigo Kids after this. Let's do the Golden Children first. The Golden Children. Golden Children, children of the sun, are highly advanced, extremely intelligent souls who are incarnating increasingly on the planet. They have little or no personal karma and possess incredible gifts and intuitive abilities. Golden Children are born with a very clear mission. Many remember it from a young age and begin answering and sharing it early in life. Due to their unique intelligence, they may find themselves easily bored at school. Most have never incarnated on Earth before, and so, if they're not supported in the right ways, they struggle with physical life here. They're often referred to as the new humans. Yeah, the Golden Children are really cool. I feel like they're actually really popular right now, especially on TikTok. Like, there are certain children that know a lot of information from a really young age, and they're like famous on TikTok. And it's honestly really cool. but also like, yeah, them and indigo kids, indigo children. Indigo children are children that come in with no karma, basically, or they prepped themselves to come in with no karma, and so they've chosen parents very strategically to come into a life of ease because their mission is supposed to affect, like, they need to be energetically in a place where they aren't moving through karma, in order to serve their mission of assisting this planet in the vibrational rising that they're meant to shift here. I'm not an indigo child, so I don't know everything about them, but I do know that they literally choose their parents very strategically, and they choose their parents at a point in time where the parents have all, like, they might have a lot of karma that they're moving through, but the parents have either been karmic cycle breakers, or yeah, I feel like really generational trauma breakers as well, like deep cycle breakers, deep black sheep in their world, where they have basically unclaimed a lot of stuff so that the kids could come into the world and serve their mission that they're meant to serve and be the lights that they're meant to be in this transitional time on Earth. Yeah, I think they're more common now than they used to be, especially now that like a lot of people are unclaiming a lot of things, but that didn't used to be a thing. What do we have left? The last thing we have is the whale elders. I'm going to read that for this, and then we're going to move into the questionnaire part of this. I know this is a long video. Whale elders. Whale and orca elders. The whale and orca elders are benevolent cosmic beings here to anchor a frequency of love onto the planet. To harmonize it with their song as they weave around the oceans, they do so much more than any of us know. Their physical presence affects Earth's magnetic field, and their harmonics calls us to wake up and remember our own soul's song. Looking into the eye of a whale is something you'll never forget. Whales see into your very being, and in an instant, you're changed forever. They see beyond the physical, the woundings, the identity, the personality, the story. They see right into your soul. If you pull this card, you're being called to surrender to your deepest truth and share it with potency, to bow who you truly are, to stretch your heart wide enough to hold it all, to leave your fears, doubts, and baggage at the door, to question any part of you that doesn't feel good enough. The whale and orca elders want you to give others the privilege of seeing who you truly are, and for you to see the same in other beings, to drop your hang-ups and personality flaws and get busy revealing the unique note your soul came here to sing. I really strongly believe that the whale and orca elders also sometimes reincarnate into beings here that sing. I think that you either have the ability to sing, or you have this like purpose here of like deep ancient knowledge, and sharing that knowledge and finding your voice throughout your life and remembering that voice and that frequency that you share. And you don't have to sing, but I do feel like many of them come back to singing. And so even if you just like have really ancient wisdom inside of you and you share it throughout your life, eventually you're going to come back to song, and you're going to recognize that the harmonics that you have to offer and tapping into the realm of harmonics is a way that you can heal even more deeply. And you do also heal just through the frequency and the potency of your voice. Okay. Questionnaire. I'm gonna take a sip. This is such a long video. If you guys are still with me, comment something, because we are going in. What clairs do you have? This is when the questions start to end up about me and channeling. What clairs do you have? I have claircognizance, was my very first clair. I've had it my whole life. I know things way before they happen. I know things about people. I know the type of person someone is. I can also feel people's hearts. I have clairsentience really strongly, or the ability of empathy. I have a really hard time being around certain people because the ability of empathy that I have is the things that people don't feel, or like they numb out or they swallow, tend to show up in my reality. That one was really hard for me growing up because I was always told I was way too sensitive, but I would be deeply affected by others' energies, and I wouldn't understand what was happening. And then I would, like, if I was in a setting with a group of people, I didn't know how to protect myself from other people's energies or know that it wasn't my energy. And so I would often end up in a really unhealthy energy, and it would always be an energy that someone was swallowing or not wanting to feel or kind of ignoring. And then I would be in a really like unhealthy manner that was kind of out of character for me. And then by the time I would get home, it would be gone. And I wouldn't understand why I acted a certain way that I did or why I felt certain ways that I did. And so it took me a really long time to understand that that was clairsentience, that was my ability of feeling other people's feelings, because I didn't know what the clairs were, and I didn't grow up spiritual, and I wasn't taught any of this stuff. I had to learn it all on my own. Aw, moth. That was cute! So learning it all on my own meant that I had to find the research and understanding, and kind of like the more I was around people, the more I was able to understand when energy wasn't mine. And so now I have a much more like a stronger understanding when energies affect me, but sometimes I'm still really susceptible. Like sometimes, especially around certain people who like really numb the shit out of themselves and don't feel their feelings, like I can be very, very affected being around them, and it's just really hard for me, and I have to cut those people out of my life because mentally it hurts my ability to be able to show up as myself, and it's just an unhealthy pattern that I used to be a part of. And now I just it's kind of one of those boundaries I have to choose myself to be able to help people and to be able to show up as myself, especially in this way. I have to choose that boundary over that, and some people just need to find themselves a little bit more before I can have them in my life. Okay, so claircognizance, clairsentience, and then I have clairvoyance. I have pretty strong clairvoyance, but clairvoyance for me shows up in a little bit of a different way. It's not a different way. A lot of people talk about clairvoyance like, oh, you're gonna have this crazy visual, like you're gonna have like a vision like they do in movies and shit, and that's not how it works. Like it's just like, it's so much more subtle. And when I took my first psychic class, I took a psychic and mediumship course from a really amazing psychic teacher and medium. And when it first started, she had us take a test, and she explained all of the clairs to us. And this was like 2 years ago now, 3 years ago. But she explained the clairs to us, and the way she explained clairvoyance changed my entire reality of clairvoyance and made me understand that I've had clairvoyance my whole life too. She was like, okay, think about your clairvoyance. Are you a super imaginative person? Do you see worlds? Do you see visions of things? When you're off daydreaming, what do you see? Can you change the daydreams? That's clairvoyance. Like, what are you seeing? What are you receiving? And so the difference is that over time, the culture has taught us to forget our abilities. It's literally hidden our abilities and renamed them things that are considered unnatural or unreal and fantasy. So people have taken our imagination, which is your ability of clairvoyance, and turned it into you're just imaginative, and you can write books with that one day, but you can't do anything with it. You know, that's what society has done with our clairvoyance and our abilities. And so reframing that changed my life, because now I understand the clairvoyance, and now that I understand that my imagination is the clairvoyance, or a way that spirit can communicate with me, I receive messages through it. And I think that everything in our reality is really about reframing the way that we're perceiving things, because we're just taught so many things, and as young beings we're taught things in a specific way because they want to get us trapped in that loop. They don't want us to understand our power, and we're deeply powerful beings, and we actually have a lot more access to our realities than we realize, because everything is vibration, everything is frequency, and we can actually tune into things like radio stations and shift our fields of consciousness. But the only way to do that is to understand first the things that you've been taught that you're not going to claim. And so that's where it all starts, and that's why everyone over time says your mind is your most powerful tool, because it literally is. That's how you change your perspective. Okay? How do you receive messages? how do I receive messages? I receive messages through all of my things. Oh, the other thing I didn't mention is that there's also clairaudience. I don't really have clairaudience. Very rarely will I receive a message by hearing it. And then there's one more. What is it? There's one more clair. I can't remember. There's one more, but I guess I might not have that one either if I can't remember. If you guys remember it, comment it. How do you receive messages? I receive messages through my clairvoyance most of the time, which is why you'll always see me zoning out, or that's why I like to look off somewhere else, because you kind of have to, like, if I'm looking straight at the camera, it kind of like uses my eyes. It uses my attention into my eyes instead of opening my third eye and allowing my third eye to visualize. So when I'm off looking at something, I'm usually looking at the sky, or like looking at like a tree, so that I'm not looking specifically at like something using my eyes. And so I open my third eye in order to receive imagery. Like right now in my third eye, they're showing me a fountain. They're showing me a 3-level fountain. Or they could show me different things. I saw a pyramid, or like, you just kind of like listen to your abilities. And then that's why you're always going to notice that like when I'm receiving messages, my eyes are always like going back and forth, because like they'll give them to me in different areas of my third eye, which is super interesting. The other thing that I notice is my clairsentience. They use my clairsentience to share messages too, which is why I get bodily feelings. That's why I like will feel certain things. I have done energy work on a lot of people, and it's literally one of the things that like I love doing energy work on people, but I only do it, it's a very it takes a lot of you. So I don't offer it to very many people. It's like something that I only offer to specific people that I just like, and it's always people that I know I'm supposed to work on. And like I'll know that I'm supposed to do energy work on someone like years before I do the energy work on them. And then it's just about like cultivating the friendship to a point where they trust me, so we can dive into that and I can assist in the energy work that I'm meant to do on them, which is super interesting. But when I do that, when I tap into someone's energy field physically, sometimes I can touch someone. I was like, what is that? There was like a giant leaf attached to a bird, and it was flying and like whipping around. Are you okay, buddy? Oh, it's still on him. Angels, can you help get it off of him? Where was I? Oh, so when I tap into someone's energy field, I can literally feel the elements in their body. The angels will use my clairvisuals, but they'll also like give me pain. Like my clairsentience shows me where they're feeling pain, or like certain areas, and it's super interesting. I don't even really know how to explain it, but like I've been doing energy work for like 5 years now, 4 or 5 years, and as I've continued to progress in it, it's gotten more vivid for me. So I feel like it started out when I didn't know anything, and I was really lucky to have a friend in my life who actually did know energy work and had been certified in certain levels of energy work. She's the one who taught me. Like when I first started learning, I just got really lucky to have her in my life, and she showed me, like she would let me watch her do energy work, and then I just got to like mess around and practice with her there while she was doing energy work that was like certified. So I mean, I feel like when you become ready, especially if you have abilities, I believe that the teachers will find you or show up in your life to assist you in that time, truly, to kind of like activate you for the next steps that you're meant to be going on. And you'll also get really interesting callings. Like you'll be like, I need to go to this certain place. You won't know why, or maybe it's some kind of like a retreat center. You have to do this retreat. You don't know why. You're gonna learn. You're there because you're ready. And I'm literally getting full body chills right now. Like I know that a lot of our collective has been feeling callings to certain places recently, and so I just know that a lot of people are getting prepared to be activated in a way of their abilities, and that's just so exciting to me. And literally full body chills on my whole body. Like I'm so excited. I'm like jumping up and down in my energy. Okay, how long has or do you feel like spirit was preparing you to channel? I actually feel like I've been prepared for this my whole life, and it's really interesting. I feel like there's a reason. The thing about being prepared to channel and like being excited and diving into the realms of where you're meant to assist, I think there's a reason it takes as long as it does for it to come forward, and there's no reason you should rush it. I feel like there's a really strong purpose to why it took me 27 years to get to the point where I started this channel. I was not a version of myself that could have given this channel or shown up in the way that I show up anytime before exactly when I started it. I think there's very strong divine timing at play. So my whole life I was going through all of these experiences, and I think all of these experiences were giving me new opportunities and perspectives to which one day I would then be able to have this channel and speak from those perspectives, right? Or have the experiences I needed to have, especially really, really heavy ones. I needed to have those experiences and not be trying to help other people while I was having them, right? Like I needed to be activated, I needed to be triggered, I needed to be woken up. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was tower moments, which makes a lot of sense because someone asked me what's a tower moment on a few of the different channeled messages. The tower in the tarot, I can't remember what the number is, hold on. I'll read it. I'm gonna have to restart again. It got darker. We'll read the tower from here. 16. Sudden awakening. When you look at the image of the tower, your first impression might be, yikes! Indeed, the image of the tower looks very troubling. Not a pretty picture. When the tower strikes, it is usually totally unexpected and sudden. It creates havoc and chaos. Basically, your world as you know it is changed drastically. The duality of the tower is transformation, enlightenment, clarity, and healing. A rather intense, mixed bag of emotions. That's what the tower is about. It throws you into a new reality and into the unknown future without much warning. The tower hits hard and fast, and usually when you least expect it. It can bring incredible loss. It blows the top off anything that is false. The tower's purpose is to wake you up to something you have been missing or ignoring. The tower's number is 16, the number of spiritual karmic law. It brings cleansing, rebuilding, and perfection. When I say a tower moment, usually there's ways, I try to talk about it in ways that make sense for the moment. Sometimes you can have mini tower moments, like miniature tower moments, where like lots of different things in your life feel like they're exploding and just like creating havoc or like showing you truth. The tower for me is a huge card of truth, and it's also a card of like things falling. So when you have a tower moment, maybe like you were ignoring the truth of a situation, and this could be really significant right now too. I don't know why the light is so, hold on. Okay. But the sudden truth can bring you to your knees, where like maybe you're like really feeling like something you thought was like you were holding on to so tightly, it wasn't serving you in the way that it was, and so it's gonna fall and crumble and light on fire and explode. And you're finally seeing that it's been actually this way the whole time, but you were just like dancing around with lollipops pretending it wasn't doing that, right? And that's what tower moments are. So anyways, next question. Do you ever feel like when you're doing readings, they're personally for you? Absolutely. I actually feel like all of the readings resonate with me a lot, but I also am tuning into different timelines of experiences. And the thing about the readings is that when I'm doing them, they're always significant to the moment that I'm doing them and the perspective that I'm being given in my life. So I've noticed that as I'm doing readings, I will be moving through a lot of things, and certain things that I'm moving through will trigger the readings. And so that's where the start of an energy of a reading will come from, and then it's all about taking that tone or whatever it was and allowing the angels to give me the opportunity to teach from it. And so I'll take their information or receive their information and revise it or like share it in the ways that it's coming through. And really, like, the lesson or the readings, they're always for me because they're always teaching me too. They're giving me the opportunity to truly come back to it and understand how everything is a teacher. Like every moment, every little thing. And you can be completely in love at the same time as completely having to look at yourself. And that's why the readings come through in ways that, like, yes, they find certain people and they show up in your life in very specific times. Like, even on my browse features, sometimes I'll have one of my readings show up at a random time, a reading that I've either already seen, or a reading that's from a really long time ago show up again. And that's because there's a lesson in it for you at that time. That's how the messages work. And things that you won't see at a certain point in time that show up later, that you're like, this is so crazy that this is showing up on my feed at this time. Like, I didn't see that coming, but like, this resonates so much in this moment. And I love that about the readings. But like, when I'm reading for them, they are also super significant for me too. So yes, they're always for me, and they're always for mass collectives too. There are some random things that come through in the readings that I don't fully resonate with, but it's not that I don't, because I do have to like tune into it in order to really bring the energy through. I mean, like anything in life, you kind of have to be there. You have to be in it in order to bring it to life. And so that's where we're at, right? Okay. How to know the difference between your intuition and your intellect. Your intuition is quiet. Your intuition is the thought that you had before all the talking. Your intellect is when you're trying to convince yourself of something, or when you're trying to understand something and it's not making sense, or you're trying to counteract. So your intuition was the thing that came before. And your intuition, that's why everyone says, like, if you want to hear your intuition, get quiet. Sit down, meditate, and just listen. And listen. Because your intuition is the quietest voice inside of you, because it's almost not even, it's not a talking, it's not a conversation, it's a knowing. Your intuition tells you at the very beginning what something is, and then the talking and the intellect is everything that comes after. And so in order to refine your intuition, after all that intellect, you have to get quiet to hear it. And it's also something that, like, you just know. Sometimes your intuition is so strong that it causes talking, because it doesn't make any, like, your intuition is something so far connected to a timeline that's in the future for you that the current present reality doesn't make it make sense. And so then your intellect is like, no, how could that possibly make any sense? This makes no sense. This isn't understandable, because it's something that is connected to a timeline beyond you, because your intuition is given to you by your higher self, right? That's where it's coming from. It's coming from a timeline that is beyond time. It's from all the different moments of yourself that are like, maybe this, you know, like, you're like, maybe I should travel here. Forget about it, talk yourself out of it. 3 years later, that intuition came back around. The other thing about intuition, it doesn't leave you the same way intellect does. Intellect comes in and out, and intuition, it will last. So if you're ever not trusting your intuition, give yourself a year, give yourself 3 years, because it will still be there. That's how you know something's your intuition. Okay, do you ever feel like you're being watched from the other side? Yes. As I've been developing my abilities a little bit more and more, like, I've always felt like I was being watched. Like, I literally always feel spirits all the time, everywhere. They're everywhere. But I don't think that you feel spirits. So another thing about my clairsentience is that that's how I know a spirit is in the room, is because I can feel them. I can't really make spirits out yet. I can just feel when they're there, and I can feel where they are too. And I can, throughout my life, I've always been able to know when a spirit's somewhere, because I can see I can feel where they are, and then my third eye can see energetic bodies. But I'm not at a point yet where my spiritual abilities have developed to me being able to figure out who exactly spirits are, except spirits I already know and trust. So for example, my best friend on the other side, I know when it's him. Or sometimes when I'm in a really deep channel, I know who a spirit is immediately. I can just feel who they are. Like, sometimes other people's spirit guides will come through in a room, and I still haven't really fully developed my mediumship abilities, but I can feel when someone's spirit friend is in the room, and they'll tell me they're there too. I've had it happen a few different times, but sometimes I'm not supposed to, or sometimes I don't feel comfortable telling the person that their spirit friend is there. And I'm just still in the developing stage. That's part of it, right? Like, sometimes your abilities are supposed to manifest at a later point in your life. And so for me right now, like, yes, I do still know when spirits are around, but I'm not at a point yet where I'm comfortable diving into that or trusting yet in my mediumship abilities, because I'm just still developing them and still learning to trust in myself to a degree that I can open the field and feel comfortable allowing those energies to fully come through, right? Some people have them immediately, some people don't, like, and I feel like there's purpose to the timing of that. Sometimes you're not supposed to know yet, and you're not supposed to have that yet. Okay, do eye colors reflect intricacies of the soul? I think that the depth of your eyes reflect intricacies of the soul, because eye colors, there are certain people that I have met with certain eye colors that do make a lot of sense, but then there's some people that don't, you know? And I don't think color specifically of your eyes tells you whether or not, tells you about the depth of intricacies of the soul. I think that when you look into someone's eyes and you really sit and look, like if you've ever eye gazed into someone and you've really sat and eye gazed with them, you're gonna end up in tears, because you're gonna finally feel that depth in their soul. And it's a way of feeling and seeing someone that is truly of the soul. And it's a very, very special practice. And you can do it with most people. So eyes are a way to connect with the soul, but not just by looking surface level at the color. Would you know someone in person if you had channeled a message for them? No. I would not. There's so many people, and I channel for mass collectives, that I don't think I would recognize someone in person. So if someone like thought that I would just see them and be like, oh, I channeled a message for you, like I wouldn't know that. Unless I personally channeled a message and channeled with you, like in a virtual way, which like I don't offer. So I wouldn't know. You would have to tell me. Okay. Has your spiritual awakening isolated you? I would say yes, but at the same time, no. I don't think that spiritual awakenings isolate you. I think spiritual awakenings give you the opportunity to align with what resonates with you and values you. And it can feel isolating if you allow it to, but more than anything, spiritual awakenings give you the opportunity to find people that actually align with you. And that does mean that you will move through periods of hermit periods, or moments of like feeling alone. The hermit like lives on his own, like stays in his house. Like the hermit is the type of person that isn't really surrounded by tons of people all the time, and just like is a homebody kinda. And I feel like you go in and out of cycles. And so you'll have that moment, but then you'll also have moments with lots of people in your lives. And if you're feeling isolated on your spiritual journey, it means that you're getting the opportunity to dive into yourself and you're not taking it. That isolation, especially if you're feeling super isolated and like you don't have anybody, like you do have people. Look at your life. Like there are people there, and it's easy for you to go out and about. You could do it. The difference though is that if you're feeling isolated, it's kind of like an excuse. It's an excuse to not dive into yourself when you could be looking into yourself and creating more of a relationship with yourself. And I feel like that's why the spiritual journey has those moments, and you may feel isolated is because it's kind of like a trigger point for you to be like, oh, well, what can I dive into within me if this is a time in my life that the angels are gifting me of solitude? If the angels are gifting me this moment to be with myself and I'm not taking advantage of it, what am I doing, right? Okay. Some people asked about some stuff from my history, and I don't know if I want to really dive into that right now. But someone said, what books do you recommend? So I'm going to pull up my Audible and give you some book recommendations, and I think we're going to finish this out because it's just been such a long video. Let's see. I literally have so many books on here. My favorite book ever, Signs, Laura Lynn Jackson. The Secret, Rhonda Byrne. The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle. Boundary Boss by Terry Cole. That's a great one. Green Lights, Matthew McConaughey. It's All in Your Head, Russ. The Amazing Power of Deliberate Intent, Part 1, Esther and Jerry Hicks. The Vortex, Esther and Jerry Hicks. Never Argue with a Dead Person by Thomas John. The Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield. That book is so good. The Light Between Us, Laura Lynn Jackson. Money and the Law of Attraction, Esther and Jerry Hicks. You Are Psychic by Pete A. Sanders, Jr. The Astonishing Power of Emotions by Esther Hicks. Ask Your Guides by Sonia Coquette. The Three Waves of Volunteers and the New Earth by Dolores Cannon. The Universe Has Your Back by Gabrielle Bernstein. Don't Wait Till You're Dead by Matt Fraser. Women Who Run with the Wolves by Clarissa Pinkola Este. The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. You Are a Channel by Sarah Landon. Ask and It Is Given by Jerry and Esther Hicks. I'm a 10x that one. Ask and It Is Given is the first book that was spiritual or about channeling that I listened to. Changed my freaking life, okay? Oh, there's a little dog out there. Okay, that's everything. I'm not going to go any deeper. That's all the things that we're going to talk about in this message. I really hope you guys stuck around. I hope that this added a lot of information and education to all of the things that we channel and we talk about on here, and I hope it answered a bunch of your questions. If so, please do let me know down in the comments. And I love you guys. I love you so much. We'll be back to regular channel messages after this one, and I'll see you guys in the next one.